not just because it's Tottenham Arsenal, but was a big game in every sense. I want to give good words, congratulations to Mikel, because he gave us a very difficult game. Tactically, they are very good. They were very well organized. They were building with 4, defending with 5. Then in the second half, they were trying to find triangles on the sides. They gave us problems that we managed to resolve, because the players in this moment, they have good tactical culture, and even above that, they have an incredible spirit. But they gave us problems because they are a good team and he's a good coach. But we deserve to win, I guess, because 2 amazing goals, and then always very solid. Even in the second half, of course, we dropped the block, and we normally do the change, Gio with Tanguy, and without Tanguy, we were a bit short in there, and Gio is in a phase where to play 90 minutes on Thursday today, to play 90 again was too much. So we were reading the game and making the changes to win it, because 2-0 the game was in our hands against a great and difficult opponent. But
Yeah, welcome to the present. If you are just stumbling or joining my channel for the first time, make sure you strike that like. Let's make sure the audio is great. Yeah, strike that like button. Very, very important. Yes, hit the like. Very important. Subscribe. Yet subscribe. And lastly, do not forget to make sure your notification bell is turned on. So where do we start today? Let's start from the presser from both Arteta and Unai Emery. We're not going to do everything they say, just the important points regarding tomorrow's match at the Villa Park, Aston Villa versus the Arsenal. It should be very interesting, especially for the neutrals. They will enjoy a good game. And for Aston Villa fans and Arsenal fans, it should be nail-biting. So where do we start from? Let's start from what Unai Emery said. Okay, let's start. I'm going to be very deeply analyzing how we can face the match tomorrow, hopefully being better in our performance individually and collectively. How we finish the match on Wednesday is very important, because they did an amazing effort, but a hard effort. If you watch the game against Manchester City, actually, Villa players applied themselves very well. They were aggressive, they were pressing, they were running, they gave everything. And that will have taken something out of them. They faced Arsenal on Saturday. They played on Wednesday. Arsenal played on Tuesday. So at least Arsenal had 24 hours a head start ahead of Villa players. That doesn't necessarily change the dynamic in terms of energy levels, but that can do a whole lot of good. So if Villa are going to approach the game the way they approached, if you're going to approach the Arsenal game the way they approach the Manchester City game, that would be nice for Arsenal, in my opinion. Because if you watch that game, Man City didn't play with any natural wit. They didn't. So it was easy for Villa to actually press them and get away with counter-attacks that Manchester City were trying to apply. But against Arsenal, if you play so much aggression, pressing aggressively, and Arsenal beat that press, Martinelli and Saka, oh my goodness, they should be feasting. Martinelli and Saka should have enough space to run into. So, as much as a lot of people are saying if they can beat Manchester City, which they deserve the victory, they actually pummeled Manchester City. But there are certain things people are not talking about if you analyze the game without any kind of bias and look at it objectively. Man City didn't have Doku, right? Phil Foden did not hold the weight compared to Saka and Martinelli. If you don't double mark those two attacking players of Arsenal, you will be taken to the cleaners. I'm sure Martinelli and Saka will be licking their lips. For most of the games this season in the English Premiership, they've been triple marked, they've been double marked. If Aston Villa decide to play the way they play against Manchester City, where they allow Man City to exploit the weak, because Man City will not play with they're not playing with any natural winger, so it was not as effective compared to Arsenal, who will be playing with natural wingers. I'm loving it. I'm not saying it's guaranteed we're going to win, even though my prediction is that we're going to still win the match. But all this fear that Aston Villa they have this 14 match unbeaten at home. Fantastic record. With the last team to beat them there, I think will be the next will be the team to go back and break that record. So let's continue to read the second part of what Naomi had to say. If you know what to play at this level, playing against the best teams in the world in the Premier League, the challenge is very hard. Our ambition is for an exciting moment for our supporters with the rivals we want to face and how we can face them. Tomorrow is another step ahead, playing against maybe the best team this season in the Premier League. Yeah, shout out to Unai Emery recognizing that Arsenal is not a pushover. Now we know Unai Emery is a very, how will I put it? He's not overly attacking. He's not overly defensive. He's a balanced manager that we're calling. He doesn't play so much effervescence or flair. He likes to be defensively solid and likes to apply the attack when necessary. So it should be an interesting game from the perspective of Unai Emery. Let's go to the next slide. Sorry, I think at the wrong slide. So let's go to what Arteta had to say. Let me take this off the screen. So Arteta said this. Tactically, Villa are really well set up. They do 2-3 things. Sorry, they do 2 or 3 different things. They are really brave to play from the back. They really attack you because they have players between the lines that can hurt you. That means midfielders, the Kamara and Douglas Luiz. They have players in open spaces that constantly threatening you. But not only that, the spirit that they have created, the atmosphere, talking about the home advantage, the intensity, and the belief that they have at the moment, they can go on and beat anybody. Yeah, you have to respect your opponent. I still think Arteta has just been a bit overly generous in these pleasantries towards Aston Villa. So it was asked on the run that Aston Villa has been on. Huge credit to them. Huge credit to Una and the coaching staff for what they've done. They have turned things around, the way they play. They are going to be really tough opponent. It's a great place to go. One of my favorite ground. Why will Arteta say it's one of his favorite ground? Why will Arteta say going to the Villa Park is one of his favorite ground? Sorry about that. A very English old ground. Sorry, a very English ground. And a great atmosphere to play football. So it's going to be a big chance for us. So according to Mikel Arteta, he is one of his favorite grounds to play. And he actually tried to sneak in the bullshit by saying it's a great place to go. One of my favorite ground, a very English ground. He's trying to sneak in the bullshit, not to actually makes him as if he just loves to go to Villa Park and pick up the 3 points. That now, but if you read this part of the comment, right, you know what he meant, right? See, they are going to be a little tough opponent. It's a great place to go. One of my favorite grounds. So he expects to go to the Villa Park tomorrow and collect 3 points. And he has the players. I understand we have a few injuries, but I still think we have the players to go to the Villa Park and secure the 3 points, in my opinion. So let me go to the next slide and see more things. So it was asked on if David Raya's mistake are more highlight than other goalkeepers. I don't know why we want to make a big deal of David Raya's gaffe. I get it. He was culpable for 2 goals against Luton. You don't expect Arteta to drop him because of those 2 gaffes he had. It happens to the best of them. Alisson has had the kind of moment. Edison has had the kind of moment. Why are we going to beam this searchlight largely on Raya because of Ramsdale? That is the narrative. There is this pro Ramsdale supporters who are always laying ambush for David Raya. Let it go. I understand. Arteta made a mess of saying he has two first choice goalkeeper. We know he was just capping. Arteta was capping. He was capping. Raya is visibly and clearly his first choice. You might not like it. Some of you have some kind of emotional attachment to Ramsdale, which is crazy. You shouldn't have so much emotional attachment to these players. Players come and go. You should have emotional attachment to the club, not even to Arteta. It should be to the club, not to players or or any members of staff because they are replaceable. They will come and they will go. So it's crazy that people are overly embellishing and pushing narrative because they prefer Ramsey emotionally. But if you actually put them in a room and ask them to be objective, who do you think is a superior goalkeeper, Raya or Ramsdale? We all know Raya is a better goalkeeper, but unfortunately, he had a poor performance, a bad day at the office against Luton. Let it go. You're not going to drop him because of that. You are not going to drop him because of that. So let's look at what Arteta had to respond regarding the question regarding Raya. Look at his form and what he has achieved since he has been with us. It's really impressive, and I agree with him. But what can I say? I have three goalkeepers. The bullshit starts again. Arteta loves to sneak in the bullshit. I'm really happy. I have great wingers. Some of them are on the bench, but questions are not related to them, and we have to accept that. As well as we have to support our players in the best possible way. We have to protect them, and we have to get the best out of them. I would focus much more on it. Every player needs the right support, love, and that's the deserve. A bit of word salad there. Well, he would never want to criticize his player, even though privately he might have some harsh words for David Raya, which is fair. But if you're expecting Mikel Arteta to drop David Raya because of that poor day at the office against Luton, that's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. These kind of things happen. Come on, like I said before, even the best goalkeepers, Alisson, Edison, the PSG goalkeeper, Donnarumma, all of them, they have their bad day at the office. So you don't have to drop them just because Arteta, in my opinion, lied to us that he had two first choice goalkeeper. That's a blatant lie. Like, he had to say that because he knew the English press would come for him if he said outrightly that he brought David Raya to replace Ramsdale. Would have been a better way to find a better PR spin to it, but it is what it is. So let's go to the other slide. So he was asked on if he can stay in his seat at the Villa Park or get up to celebrate. In the director's box, I don't think so. Never say never because the game can get very emotional, but we're trying to do that. Definitely at the director's box, you have to behave yourself. You cannot be as erratic or ecstatic where the directors will be. So Arteta will behave himself. He will behave himself. So on if there is enough depth defensively to cover the injuries. Let's see. We are going to have to adapt. We have what we have right now. It's true that January window is coming up, and we have to assess where the squad is and the need that we have. But at the moment, it's something we cannot change. We have to play all these games now throughout December in the best way possible. Exactly. Unfortunately, we have the likes of Timber out with a long-term injury. We have Tomiyasu who has joined, will be out till January, I guess. And we have Smith out, we have Fabio Vieira out, we have Partey still out. So Arsenal have been dealt the injury blow too, even though we are managing it carefully. We've had Jesus out for a few weeks, Saka, Martinelli. It has been a roller coaster of injuries, but the game is the game. You just have to play with what you have. There's nothing you can do. You cannot go and buy players right now, even though the January transfer window opens now. You don't want to go and buy players right now. And when those players come back, the harmony will be tested because when you go and buy quality players and the Tomiyasu and Timber comes, how do they get game time? So it is some of the difficult jobs for Edu and Arteta to actually think deep and look at the time scale before they go into transfer window, because almost all the fans are asking go and sign players. Come on, there has to be a squad cap, a squad limit. You can't just keep on adding more players and adding more players. Only 11 players can play. And even though you add more players, you can't keep on chopping and changing. You have to have a strong chemistry among your first teamers. So sometimes it's easy for us as fans just be screaming out of our lungs, go and get the next player, go and get the next player. It doesn't work like that. Because people are shouting, let's go and get a defender. Now, if you get a defender, I don't expect us to get an inferior. I expect us to go and get a quality defender, right? You get a quality defender, and Timber is back. Tomiyasu is back. What happens to them? No, what happens to them? Because Tomiyasu and Timber are top class defenders. What happens to them? So sometimes we have to be very careful what we demand for and think through it deeply. Because you can't be go and get a top quality defender and just stick him on the bench. No, they don't stick on the bench because always former people so they go and get a Saka replacement. And I've always thought about it, right? If you go and get this so-called Saka replacement, that is as good as Saka, which you can't find so many quality wingers as good as Saka at this moment. You think he'll be excited to just come to us and sit down on the bench while Saka is playing all week? Like sometimes the way these conversations are held, it just shows a lot of ignorance, bold ignorance. Like go and get a Saka replacement or a player as good as Saka, or go and get another player as good as Martinelli and stick them on the bench. And you think they'll be happy to just sit down on the bench and wait for their turn? It doesn't work like that. Let's just apply some common sense when we have these conversations. I understand the game can drive you to that emotional state, but come on, you can still apply some rationality. There is no way Arsenal can go and get a player as good as a Martinelli and Saka, and those players will be happy to stick on the bench. It doesn't happen that way. It does not happen that way. So let's go to some of the. So those were part of the excerpts of the press conference Mikel Arteta had today, and we actually showed you uh this one from Una Emery. So David Raya, a lot of people have been having a lot to say about David Raya because of the performance against Luton. Personally, for me, I was livid. I was upset about his performance. I think that was very, very poor. For both goals, he was very, very poor. But I'm not going to drop him, and I don't expect Arteta to drop him. He's a better goalkeeper than Ramsey. I like Ramsey. I actually love Ramsey. Uh, People always come with this narrative that Ramsey, they can't see the difference between Raya and Ramsey. That is a bloody cap. You are capping. The difference in distribution is visible for us to see. The difference in save is there for us to see. The difference is coming out and dominating his box, except of Luton game for some reason he had a bad day in the office or at the office rather. So let's not cap and act like if there is no difference between Ramsey and Wright. There's difference. It might not be huge, but there's difference between Raya and Ramsdale. So I don't expect him to be dropped. I expect him to actually come in to continue to stay between the sticks for Arsenal. I like him, the better distributor. I like his confidence. Although, like I said, let me repeat it again. He had a bad day at the office against Luton in our last game. But luckily, we still won the game. A win is a win. A win is a damn win. So we all know Arteta is suspended to be on the touchline for this one. It's going to be sitting with Edu at the director's box. So our two assistant coaches will actually be the one in charge of the team. They'll be on the bench. Albert Stevenberg and Carlos Costa will be Arsenal's two main men on the touchline tomorrow at Villa Park in the absence of Mikel Arteta. So for me, those are very good coaches who can take up the reins. Even though we know Carlos Costa can be a little bit combustive. He got a yellow card in the last game, right? No, was it the last game or the game for the last game at the end? The Wolves game, right? I think he got a yellow card in the Wolves game. So I hope this time, both, even that in the absence of Arteta, they can actually turn down the temperature. We know. Let's not pretend there's no a target from the referees on Arsenal and our coaching staff. It's looking like, for some reasons, the referees are always looking for how to actually caution our coaching staff. We saw how they dealt with the Arteta issue. Arteta said the refereeing against the match we played against Newcastle was embarrassing, and it was hit with a charge. Now we're still waiting for the final punishment to give it to Arteta, right? Compare that to our friend Zebi at Brighton, who came out swinging hardly, saying he didn't like 80% of the English referees. And guess what he got? A warning. He got a warning, a bloody warning. But Arteta, who said the officiating was embarrassing, which indeed the officiating against Newcastle was embarrassing, got charged. But Brighton, who said he didn't like the referees, got a warning. Now, against Luton, a very small stadium, there's a very small technical area, and we scored literally the last seconds of the game, right? That got everybody ecstatic. Arteta gets a yellow card for that. Arteta actually incurs a yellow card for celebrating a last-minute win at Luton. Then on the other side, Giuseppe wins against Nottingham Forest. Now, albeit the referee have blown the whistle at the Nottingham Forest Stadium, but he ran onto the pitch. He ran onto the pitch. He got no yellow card, nothing. But Arteta is being monitored aggressively. Our coaching staff are being monitored aggressively and being yellow carded all the time. I don't know why. I don't. There's something. Even if you look at the punditry too, even the commentators, the way they talk about Arsenal is as if there's some sort of prejudice, some sort of hatred against Arsenal. I don't know why. I do not know why, but it is what it is. So I'm sure Arteta prepared his assistant coaches and his boys to be able to deal with the pressure, the obsession, and the cynicism that will come tomorrow at the Villa Park. We have to understand that tomorrow the Aston Villa players will be a tad aggressive and physical. We saw it in the Luton game, right, where the referee allowed the Luton players to be overly aggressive and physical on our players. Martinelli got kicked in the first 2 minutes, and that guy had a knee in his back, and the referees, there was no yellow card, there was no warning. So I hope Arsenal fans can control the emotionality tomorrow, because Aston Villa will want an emotional game. We have to be very careful, we have to be very sensible and manage the game carefully. Do not fall for their tricks and their tricks. Do not fall for their shenanigans. They will try and rile us up. We have to just stick to the task. The task is to go there and get the 3 points. Do not fall for their gimmickry. Go there and get 3 points. I think we have the better midfield, the better defense, and the better attack. Go there, get your focus on the game. Do not get riled up by the referee decision. Do not let the fans rile you up. Do not let Aston Villa players rile you up, and make sure you focus in the game. If you do that, for me, we should be winning the match. This guy, Declan Rice, what a signing. What a colossal signing we made at summer. What every penny that we paid for him from West Ham. What's it? But we know the mainstream have a lot to say. You'll be surprised that now, on the side, the likes of Gary Neville, Jimmy Carragher always have a lot to say about Arsenal performances, our manager, and our players. But I was shocked that a former player who did not make it at Arsenal had a lot to say regarding this quality signing. For me, he's a top class player. I won't go as far as saying world class. I think the way we throw world class loosely these days, I do not subscribe to that. I think there are only a few world class players. He's a top class player, but I will not go that far and call him world class. Let's listen to what Jamie Payne had to say on Talk Sports about Declan Rice and who he compared Declan Rice to. Let's listen.
I won't say Rice. Rice is any team would be a dream to have. But there is better sixes in the Premier League at the moment.
Name one.
I'll say Douglas Luiz.
Of Aston Villa.
I think he can do everything that Rice can do and better.
He just said Douglas Luiz is better than Rice. Sometimes, is he deliberately trying to be a contrarian? Is he deliberately trying to provoke a reaction? How can you say Douglas Luiz is better than Declan Rice? Are we watching the same game? It can't be the same game I'm watching. I'm not saying this because I'm an Arsenal fan. There's no way Douglas Luiz is better than Declan Rice. Now, if you go by the logic of him saying so, okay, earlier this past summer, right, Bayern, Man City wanted Declan Rice alongside Arsenal, right? Now, if Bayern and Man City couldn't get Declan Rice and we got him, if Douglas Luiz is actually better than Declan Rice, how come Bayern and Man City did not go and get Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa? Because it's gettable. They can afford him. If indeed Douglas Luiz is this great DM that is better than Declan Rice, how come they think Bayern and Manchester City didn't go and get him? the way these pundits be saying some things was giving them platform to just blatantly disrespect the intelligence of the footballing audience. This is disrespectful. To tell us after what we are watching Declan Rice, how he's performing, that Douglas Luiz of Aston Villa is better than Declan Rice. Let me play the whole thing for you guys to enjoy because he had more to say.
Assists more. He chips in with goals more than Rice.
You see, he said Douglas Luiz gives more assists than Declan Rice. Is that his primary job as a DM? See, he lays that nonsensical credence when they were arguing that when a lot of the English fans, English pundits always bestow on Trent that is the best right back, which I find farcical. How can Trent be the best right back or the world-class right back, but he can't defend? It doesn't make sense. Your primary job as a right back is to defend. Any other thing you do is an added incentive, but your primary job is to defend. I don't care how many assists Trent gives. I don't care. Or goals. His primary job is to defend because by that logic, Jesus should be the best striker. But when it comes to Jesus, they are quick to tell us how many goals is he scoring. He's a striker. They don't want to hear, oh, he's facilitating, he's helping Saka and Martinelli, he's passing. They don't hear the hold-up play. They don't tell us, oh, Jesus. They will tell us, no, how many goals is he scoring? But when it comes to Trent, because it's English, suddenly, oh, even though he can't defend, but that's not a strong point, but he can give you assist and he can score. That doesn't make no sense. You're telling us Douglas Luiz can give assist and has flair. That is not the primary job or the main job of a DM.
Creativity-wise, is better. Flair is better, and he can put in a tackle just like Rice, break up play just like Rice.
He just lied again. There is no better tackler at the moment in the English Premiership than Declan Rice. No better tackler. This guy is just lying to our faces. He's questioning what we are watching, our intelligence. How can you say Douglas Luiz is a better tackler than Rice? One thing that he is better than even Rodri. Declan Rice is a better tackler than Rodri. But this guy's going to tell us that Douglas Luiz is a better tackler than Declan Rice. Jimmy Pena, just say you are hurt from the fact that your career did not take over at Arsenal. Just say it. And you are projecting your hatred on our players, present players.
So I think if someone said to me, you can have Douglas Luiz for 60 mil or Declan Rice for 100, easy every day of the week, Douglas Luiz.
Wow. Okay, they'll go head-to-head this weekend in the Premier League. Declan Rice.
They will. Now, you can say it's his opinion, but by that logic, I can say by my opinion, the sky is red. But objectively, the sky is not red. So let's not hide under the nonsense of, oh, that's the opinion. That's some bollocks. You cannot have a horrible opinion and we are supposed to challenge it. We are going to challenge your dumbass opinion. Bernard Williams says, pay not. Shout out to you, Bernard Williams. Shout out to you. I think you're a new person. I've never seen this name before, but shout out to you for joining me. The crazy thing is that he's a Highland graduate, a former player of Arsenal, but never heard of him saying good things about Arsenal. Exactly. Now, the fact that he didn't succeed at Arsenal, right? Is that Arsenal's fault or is it our fault? Objectively, he wasn't good enough. I watched Jimmy Pennant, right? He was not good enough. And sometimes you have to accept that you're not good enough. There's nothing wrong if you are not good enough. You don't have to stay bitter for the rest of your life because whatever happened a few years ago, he didn't make it at Arsenal, and I get it. It happens. Even at Liverpool, what did he do? He wasn't ripping up trees at Liverpool. He was an average player, and there is nothing wrong sometimes to being an average player. There's nothing wrong. He was not just good enough. For him to say Declan Rice is not as good as or let me flip the other way. To say Douglas Luiz is better than Declan Rice is farcical and one of the dumbest things you can say because we can all watch it football objectively, and we all know, even rivals will tell you, there is no way you are putting Douglas Luiz in the same sentence with Declan Rice. You're not doing that. You are not going to do that. I don't care if Douglas Luiz is Brazilian. He's not. I won't even accept him as at Arsenal. He's not good enough. he is not just good enough. But people say his opinion. Like I said, your opinion is subjected to challenge. Yeah, especially if it's a dumb opinion, people will challenge it. People will challenge it if your opinion is dumb. It's what it is. For me, Declan Rice is colossal. There is, for me, the only DM right now I think is ahead of him is Rodri. Even though Rodri is not having the best of season, but Rodri has like a collage. He has he has actually has years of being at a particular level for a long time, and we have to just give him his flowers. I understand. For the last 15 games, Declan Rice for me is superior to Rodri this season. But if you collate everything they've done for the past few years, Rodri is still for me the superior DM, not by a mile, but still superior. But Declan Rice is very close to Rodri. So let's not play these dumbass games and say Douglas Luiz not even considered part of the conversation. If you can bring in Casemiro, can bring in Partey, who can you say you can bring Caicedo, who is struggling at Chelsea? Nobody talks about Douglas Luiz as a good DM. Let's not play that dumbass games. But if that's his dumbass opinion, who am I to stop him from being a dumbass sometimes? So, guys, that'll be all for now. I'll be back here tomorrow morning. Check out, make sure you turn your notification bell. It's very, very on. I'll be here in the next few hours for another live session talking about tomorrow's Premier League matches and Sunday's Premier League matches. Join me here. It should be an interesting conversation. Hopefully, if Mr. Fosa is around, we should be here together to have that conversation early tomorrow morning. So on your way out, or if you're watching the playback, do me that favor by striking a like on the video. Very, very important. If you are new here, like Mr. Bernard, shout out to you. If you're not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. Bernard Williams, if you're not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. And shout out to you for making it interactive. So, guys, that will be all for now. Tomorrow's game should be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Aston Villa will give us a game, but I still believe we should be collecting the 3 points from Villa Park. I understand they pulled Man City from pillar to post. They pulled Man City's pants down. They ain't going to do that to us tomorrow. For me, we have a better squad. We have genuine wingers and genuine width to exploit them tomorrow. It should be an interesting match for the neutrals, a new batting match for Aston Villa fans and Arsenal fans. But I believe at the end of the day, Arsenal will secure the win like they always do this season. So, guys, like the video, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, very important. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye for now. Oh, this should be a